Hello guys, so in today's session we'll be creating a web app something like this using Streamlit, and let me first show you what we are exactly gonna build today. So this is a COVID-19 tracking app, and in the homepage of this app it shows the worldwide data. It shows total number of cases, total number of deaths, total number of recovered patients all across the world, and we also have a bar graph for the same, and you can see these bar graphs are interactive also. Then in the create slash filter your search sidebar we have the selection for country. So if I want to see how India is doing in case of COVID-19, I can just select India from this drop down menu, and it gives me the total number of confirmed cases in India. And we have a line chart here, or a line graph here, which shows the number of cases with the timeline. So I have from, so the data or the API which we are using is giving us the data from 30th Jan all the way up to 5th of August. And the parameter or the cases type which I'm selecting here is confirmed. If I want to change it to deaths, it will show me that how many total deaths in India have been there. So, and the graph for the same. Now we can also compare it with some other country like China. So if I want to see how many deaths are have been there in India or as compared to China, so it shows me that in the red line, or the red line graph represents China's data, while the blue line represents India's data. And so there have been around 41,000 deaths in India in total, and only 4,680 deaths in China. We can then also select the recovered thing. So here are the total number of recovered cases in India, and as respect to China, we can also see how the timeline have been. And then we have this refresh data button here, which will just rerun the whole web page in case of the API has changed or API has some updated data. It will show us here as soon as we click on the refresh data. So, and then we have our company logo here, AI Probably, and it is created by Harshit Agrawal, that is me. So let's get started and see how we can build this. Hello guys, so thanks for tuning into AI Probably, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do it, and please click on the bell icon to get the latest updates from AI Probably. So let's get started with today's session, and the series which we are in is Data Science and Machine Learning series. So today what we'll be learning is, so first we have the problem statement itself, then we have what can we do in this particular context. Then we'll be introducing a library or an API which is Streamlit, and we'll be building the whole COVID-19 tracker app using this particular API only. Then we'll be diving into how to install Streamlit and what are some cool widgets it is offered, and then we will finally dive into the practical part of this module, which is actually creating the application. Then we'll be running our application. So by the end of this module, you guys will be able to understand Streamlit and its widgets, and you guys will be able to create some cool powerful web applications using Streamlit easily. Along with the coding part, you will also get to know that how easy it is to actually create a web application if you're using Streamlit API. So let's first dive into the problem itself, which is COVID-19. As you all guys know, that the whole world is actually suffering from this pandemic, and this coronavirus disease, which is also named as COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. So there have been, few variations or few versions of this virus in the past, but they were not so much potent as this one. So how does this coronavirus spreads? It actually spreads through the droplets which are generated when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or exhales. So please guys, always wear mask, stay safe, and please maintain social distancing because it can also be spreaded if you are in close contact with the infected person itself. So yeah, please stay safe about this. So that was our problem statement for this particular case study. So what can be done? Am I talking about how to create a COVID-19 vaccine? No, sorry. Unfortunately, we cannot do that, or I cannot do that. But what can we do is we can create a web application to track the cases worldwide by the countries, and we may even compare one country's performance about the COVID-19 with with respect to another country. So it will give us a bit idea. Sounds cool, right? But why? Like, why do we need to create such a solution or such a tracker? So this can be helpful to track the effect of this pandemic across the globe and also to stay aware of its danger. Like we'll be aware all the time about what is the current situation about this virus, not only in our own country, but in any other country, and we can also track how it is affecting the world. And also, obviously, to learn how to create a cool web app. Streamlit. So, Streamlit is an open source app framework, which is the easiest way to create beautiful performant apps in only few hours. And since you can code it directly in Python, you will also be leveraging the easiness which Python offers, and moreover the power it offers. Like you may integrate your machine learning modules directly in the Python script in which you are writing this Streamlit code. So you do not need to first create a machine learning model and then deploy it and then link it to your web application using REST APIs and all. You can directly do it from Streamlit if you are building your app from Streamlit. So the key features which Streamlit offers is build the web application completely in Python, thus extensively leveraging the power and the simplicity of the language. Add interactive widgets to create a nice UI, which we'll be learning in the next slides. Whatever apps we design in Streamlit, they are deployable, so they can easily be hosted using any hosting service, and they can then easily be used on cross platforms also. But before getting ahead, we must first know how to actually install Streamlit. So there is a simple command pip install Streamlit, and then we can move ahead and we can see how or what all cool widgets Streamlit has to offer us. So Streamlit offers many of the widgets which can make your UI look good, and then they can also be used to interact with the user or take the user inputs for our web application. So some of the widgets are slider, selection box, checkbox, buttons, and there are then text fields and a lot more. So in this particular GIF here, you can see some widgets. So this particular you know thing is this particular widget is known as slider, which can take input of any data using while the user slides it. Then we have a selection box similar to the selection box which we just showed in our quick demo of what we are gonna build. So we'll be using this selection box, and unfortunately checkbox is not there, but as always checkbox is simple square box where user can tick if he or she wants a particular feature or a particular input included. Then we have normal buttons, and there are a lot more like text fields and all. So we'll be seeing it when we'll be creating the app itself. So without wasting any further time, let's dive into how to create the solution, or how to create the web app. So before moving to the coding part itself, we first need to find a API which can provide us with the latest coronavirus statistics by countries. So there is this coronavirus COVID-19 API on Postman. So using this particular API, we can directly have the data about the countries. So here, for example, we have this particular API call which we can directly go to, and it will return the whole data about South Africa. So this is the data of confirmed cases which were there in South Africa. And if we just change it to some other country, say India, we can have the same data about India. So we'll be using this particular API, and it has a lot of functions. So we'll just be using few of these API calls which are necessary for our tracker app. So let's get to the coding part now. So this is the code which I have developed to create the COVID-19 tracking app, which I showed you in the start of this video. And you can see that using only 88 lines of codes, we were able to build such a powerful and such a good looking web application. So first things first, we need to import all the libraries. So most important, we need Streamlit. Then we need pandas for some data processing and conversion. Similarly, NumPy, and we need to import requests because we are gonna use the API calls. Then for the interactive graphs, which I just showed you, we'll be using Plotly. So the tutorial about Plotly has already been covered in previous modules. You can, if you want to learn how you can also create cool graphs, and if you want to learn more about Plotly, then the tutorial link will be in the description below. You can just go there and check that. So these are all Plotly library imports. Then we have something pandas.io JSON, which will be helping because the result from the API call, or the get method, which we'll be using to get the data from the API, it will be returned to us as a JSON file. But it is always easy to use pandas, or if my data is in pandas data frame, it will be easier for me to process it and to find out few specific values. Then we have again Streamlit script runner. So there are few exceptions which are provided by Streamlit.script runner, which are stop execution and rerun exception. So this rerun exception is used to rerun the script without changing the user input values, which we'll be using while coding for the refresh data button. So we'll just set our figure equals to go.figure. It's a plotly command. So I'm just creating a empty figure here, and I'll be adding data later on. So in the application, you guys were able to see two sections. So there are two sections in this application. One is this particular section where we have the create/filter your search options, cases type and all. And the other section, which is known as the main section of the application, is this where we have my title, which is COVID-19 tracking app, and some information and all these graphs. So in the main section of the application, if you want to add any widget or write anything or to type anything, we will just be using st.write, because st represents Streamlit. So .write method is used to write anything on the Streamlit application. So using this hash symbol, I'm making my text bold. So because this is my heading, it should go in bold. So my heading is COVID-19 tracking app, and I have a little emoji there. So if you want some hypertext to be included in your web application, like an app, like if you want a text which can take you to some other URL which is linked to an URL, so you can use this format here. So you can write your text in the square brackets and its corresponding link in parentheses. So this coronavirus COVID-19 API and the link to the API is used to get the data in this particular app. Then we have a little information about COVID-19 here, like many governments are taking measures to prevent sanitary collapse to be able to take care of all these people. And here I'm trying to track how some countries are doing. So So currently we are talking about the home page screen. So in the home page screen, we want the total number of cases, total number of active cases, or total number of confirmed cases, total number of deaths cases, and total number of recovered cases all over the world. So for that, we'll be using the API call, which is this. And these all API calls you can just find out on the API link itself. So after defining the URL, to create a request, we'll just be using the request API which we just now imported. So we'll say r equals to request dot get, because we need to get some data from the API. So we'll be using the get method and the URL. Then we'll be getting the result in a JSON format, so which is represented by, or which can be returned by r.json. Then we need to normalize this JSON file in order to convert it into data frame, pandas data frame, because we need to extract some data from there, and it would be easier if we have a pandas data frame with us. So then we have all the countries data in a pandas data frame. So in the API call, where we want to get countries data, so we have the data in this format. So the data starts with the country Congo itself. So what will happen is, if in the application I will just use the data or the data frame which I got by converting the JSON file, it will still have the country, sorry, it will still have the country Congo on the top of it, and we won't be able to see select a country option here initially also. Therefore, we need to add a top row in the data frame. In the top row, we'll be having the country as select a country. Slug is something which we have to use to identify a country. Suppose for South Africa, the country name would be South with an S capital space Africa with A capital. But for slug, but the corresponding slug for South Africa would be South all in lowercase hyphen Africa all in lowercase. So for the API calls, it is necessary that we have the slugs with us. So because API calls are only made using the slug. So then we just create an empty row which we call top row, and we'll be concatenating it with the original data frame. Let's move ahead. Now comes the concept of sidebar. So the section where we'll be having all our search criteria and the filter search criterias, it is known as sidebar. So we'll be giving the header as create slash filter your search. Then we'll be choosing the graph type, which is the metric, which is the confirmed cases or the deaths cases or the recovered cases. So to get that, we'll be using the selection box, which is represented by select box. So In the select box, it requires two attributes. The one is the label for select box and the other is the data for the select box. So the label would be cases type and the data would be either the confirmed cases, deaths cases, or the recovered cases. Then to select the country or to store what country the user has selected, we are again providing a select box, the label for which is country itself, for the label for which is country, and the data for which is df not dot country. So df not is the data frame which we have just now normalized and pre-processed, concatenating the top row which says select a country. So in the data of the first select box, we'll be providing df not dot country, so it will show all the country names in the select box whenever the user will click on the select box. Similarly, we want to add another select box which says compare with another country, and the data for that would be the same. Okay, so to add a button using Streamlit, you do not need to first define a button and then define the on-click listener to it. You can simply say if st.sidebar.button, the label of the button, which is refresh data, and then you can just provide the function it will perform. Then to refresh the script, the rerun exception which we have imported, we can raise this particular exception with the st.script request queue.rerun data, and we will provide none as the attribute. So this particular code will rerun our Streamlit script or this Python script. So that being done, now it's time to actually display the data. So if the user has not selected any country in the first selection box, so if the country still says select a country, that means the user has not selected any data. So what we'll do is first we have to extract the slug of the corresponding country. So to do that, we'll be using the pandas function df_not.slug, where the country is equals to country. So this will give us the slug of the country which the user has been selected, and we'll be converting it to string. Then we'll be creating our API request URL, which we have taken from the API documentation itself, and we'll be adding the country name or the slug which we have just now extracted in the middle of the API, just after the country tag. And after the status, we need to provide the graph type, because it will show the confirmed cases, the deaths cases, or the recovered cases on the basis of that only. Then we'll just perform the request.get method, and then we'll be writing the total number of cases in the selected country. So then again we'll be making this particular text bold using the hashtag symbol here, and since this particular text is going to be on the main section of the application, we will be using st.write function. Then the total graph type cases, so graph type is nothing but either confirmed deaths or recovered, then country which the user selected, and then to get the current number, so the latest number would be, so to get the latest data from any country or using this particular API, what we can see is since it is the data of South Africa, what we can see is that here in the last row of this JSON file which is returned to us, it shows the latest data which is for 6th of August. So to get the latest data from the API, we just need to access the last row of the JSON file. So to get the last entry from the JSON file, we can use r.json, and providing the index -1, it will return us the last row. Then from that we can only get the cases, the number of cases. So after printing this, now it's time to convert the returned data into a data frame so that we can use this data to create graphs. Before creating the graph or before adding a trace into a Plotly graph, we would first initialize our layout element. So the layout is nothing but just the structure of the graph. So it will, in the layout section, you will be, so in the layout section, you will be entering the title of the graph, the x-axis and the y-axis labels. Then after that, we'll be updating the layout of the figure and we'll be overwriting the previous layout. Then it's time to add data, the actual data to the figure, which can be done using figure.addTrace. And here we are going to plot line plots or actually multi-line plots if there are two countries. So to do that, we'll be using go.scatter. Go is nothing but graph objects which are offered from Plotly. So for the x-axis, we'll be providing df.date, and for the y-axis, on the y-axis, it will be df.cases. And the mode is selected to lines because it is a line chart. And to distinguish between both the datas, if the user selects another country also, we have to provide the name of the graph which we are currently building. So this is one part of the application where if the user is only selecting one country and not two, so if the user is only selecting one country, then this much code will do. If the user selects a second country also to compare the first country with, the second country is represented by country1 variable. So if the country1 is also not equals to select a country, that means if the user has selected any particular country in the second select box also, then we'll be repeating exactly the same thing with minor changes. So first we need to extract the slug from the original data frame which we had using the country1 variable now, because we need to see the name of the second country. Then we'll be creating the request URL and again writing the total number of cases on the basis of what the user selected in the graph type, and again converting it into a data frame. Now here is a little change. Now the title would change. Initially the title was countries graph type cases. So it may be like India's confirmed cases data. But now that we have two different countries, so we'll be writing country 1 versus country 2 graph type cases data. So maybe India versus South Africa confirmed cases data. So like that, and the rest of the things will still remain same. We'll update the layout and override the previous one, and we'll add this trace to the figure. And finally we'll just use st.plotly chart, which is used to plot Plotly graphs using Streamlit or on the Streamlit application. Then we'll be providing our figure and we'll be providing the width. So it is like you can either define it by yourself, it can be custom also, but I'm just using the default which is provided by Streamlit, which is provided by Plotly. So this was the case if the user selects. So we have built actually the second half of the application, which was if the user selects any country or another country to compare it with. But for the home page, if the user is not selecting anything, in that case, we'll be running a URL which is world total. So it will give us the total data so it will give us the data about the world. So the total data about the world, it contains total confirmed, total deaths and total recovered cases. So we are extracting them and storing them in these variables. Then we can just write st.write, and this is again in bold using the hash symbol. worldwide data, then st.write, then we can write the total number of cases are str total, which are stored in this total variable, then total deaths and total recovered cases. Now we need to plot a bar chart. So to plot the bar chart, first we need to prepare the data. The data requires x and y axis. So in the x-axis, the list would be containing the labels, which is total cases, total deaths, and total recovered. In the y-axis, the list would contain the actual data, which is represented by total deaths and recovered variables. Then we'll be creating the layout again, which says the title of which says world data. The x-axis says category and y-axis says number of cases. After that, we will just update our layout and we'll add this figure, which is go.bar provided x and y axis data, and we'll again plot this st.plotly chart. So the main thing here is I guess you guys are able to understand the flow. So first we are seeing that if the user has selected the first if the user has selected a country in the first select box or not. Then we'll see if the user has selected a country in the second select box or not. And if neither is the case, then we have the home page. Of course, like it means then we have the home page. So now that we have created our web application or we have coded our web application, it's time to run it. So how can you run any Streamlit app? So it is again a simple command which says Streamlit run your script.py, and you can provide some arguments if you want. Okay, so now it's time to run our application, and to do that what we need to do is we'll just open a PowerShell window here in your project itself and just type the given command, that is streamlit run and the name of the application COVID track. Okay, wait, I just forgot. Okay, yeah, COVID track app dot py. So as soon as this runs, we can see our app go live and it shows the home page of the application, and you can again see these hypertexts and they are still working fine. So it just jumps us to the API documentation page, and here we can see the worldwide data and the total number of cases, total number of deaths and total number of recovered. Then we can use this button to pop the sidebar and we can select any country, say Thailand, and you can see the total number of cases in Thailand. So yeah, then we can again change the metric itself if I want to see the total number of death cases in Thailand, and even if I want to just compare it with New Zealand, let's say. So the total number of death cases in Thailand is 58 and total number of death cases in New Zealand is 22, which is quite a good number. And then we have, like, again we can just change the metric to confirmed cases and we can refresh the data. So if in case API would be having any new data to share, it would be updated. Currently the latest data is still 6th of August, as we already saw in the API also. So here is our little salutation that this particular web app is created with love in India by Harshit Agrawal. And since I showed you in the code itself that it is a hypertext, by clicking on it we'll be moving to my LinkedIn profile. So let's not go there. And then we have the company logo here, AI probably. Alright, so congratulations, you have successfully run your first Streamlit web application. But what is next? So what can you do more? Always, like you can just go, you can just search
the Streamlit documentations online and see a lot more cool widgets, a lot more powerful functions which it provides, and you can use them in your own personal web application. But apart from that, since this particular web application which we just now created is still local, uh, in order to create a web link and in order to get a link, a URL, so that anyone with this URL can just click on it and see your application, you need to host your application. So there are many hosting platforms available. Some of them are free and some of them are paid also. So the free ones include Heroku and GitHub for trial versions. So you can try, and you can search online about how to deploy any Streamlit application on Heroku or GitHub, and you can then host your website there and then share it with others. So thank you guys. This was it for this particular section, for this particular module. So if you guys have any questions, please comment down below and we'll be answering your questions in a short time. So thank you so much again. If you like this video, please hit on the like button, subscribe to AI Probably channel and click on the notification bell icon to get the latest updates from AI Probably. Thank you.